Having the top off of your Wrangler is a very freeing and enjoyable experience, but taking off the hardtop is quite the opposite and next to impossible to do if you're by yourself. Now this easy 4x4 EZ-LIFTOP folding hardtop remover, however, is a perfect solution to that issue, allowing you to easily take off the top and store it so you don't have to worry about calling a friend, being forced to leave the top on in nice weather, and most importantly, finding a place to store that huge top. Now this fits all year and model Wranglers with a hard top, whether you have a 2 or 4 door, and it is adjustable, so it works with lifted and stock Wranglers, making it very versatile and a very helpful system that you can use on your own and on a day-to-day basis whenever you need to. Now, hardtop removal systems usually consist of hoists that require a garage and generally a tall ceiling or a cart system like this choice. Now, what makes this unique though is the way that this operates compared to other cart systems, using a stable support platform for underneath the top rather than hooking around the sides with straps. So that's going to make this system feel a lot more stable and controlled when you're removing it. Now it also has a very simple hand crank system that's effortless to turn and offers a lot of that control and stability when raising it and taking the top off of the Jeep, even if it's just you doing it, so you can have some peace of mind that this is a safe and stable system. Now it also allows you to crank the top up off of the Jeep and then store it on the system until you need to put it back on the Jeep, allowing you to optimize the space in your garage or wherever you're taking the top off, and just rest assured that the top is not on the ground or getting damaged otherwise. Now this is tough, made of thick steel tubing to ensure a supported and safe operation, and a majority of the hoist is covered in a bright blue finish, which adds a little character to the system but also protects the steel underneath. Now the 4 arms that support the top on the inside are also covered with a soft carpeted material and have non-slip points to keep it from moving around, and that avoids any damage to the top. Now this is also equipped with 4 locking casters to prevent movement when you're taking the top off, if you don't want it to roll, whether it be in removal and storage. This also has a complete foldable design that folds into a compact size, so when you are not using the hoist, you can keep it out of the way in day-to-day life until you need it next. This system is about $750, which is comparable to other hardtop removal systems like it. Now, what I like about this option and what stands out about this is the lack of requirements that it has for the height of your Wrangler, where you are taking the top off of your Jeep, and what you need to do in order to take the top off the Jeep. Now, you simply just unfold it, slide it under the top, and lift it off, rather than a ceiling system that may require a certain height or a certain amount of space in order to install it, or a cart system that involves multiple straps and forms of attachment to use, making it a little bit more complicated than this choice. This also has a lot of versatility if you do need it, being compact, it's easy to use, and it is overall a reliable system to take off the hardtop, making it a great choice. Install, or assembly should I say, is a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. There is quite a decent amount of pieces. I don't have everything on the table here, but it should take about 2 hours or so in order to put this together with some fairly basic hand tools. Now at this point, I'm going to hand it over to one of our installers. They're going to show you how you can put this together and how to use it. So that is going to wrap it up for what I have to say. Let's go ahead and get into the install.
Tools required for this install include a ratchet, the included 13 and 17 millimeter wrench, 13, 16, 17, and 19 millimeter sockets, and a T50 torque socket. What's up guys? Today we're assembling a hardtop remover for our Wrangler, so let's get started. So I've started out by laying out the pieces for the base of our hardtop lift. Now the first thing I'm going to be doing is installing our wheels. We have 1 on each corner. They're all going to install the same way. You're going to take a 17 millimeter socket to tighten down the nut. And then there is a little hex cutout on the bottom that you can hold with a 16 millimeter wrench to prevent it from just spinning. So now take one of your wheels and put it into the bottom. And then get your flat washer and your lock nut on top. Take your 17 millimeter socket to tighten it down. And I'll do that same thing on the other 3 corners. Next, we're gonna come to our center bar and install our wheel. So I'm just gonna rotate this to the side to make it easier. You're gonna put your M8 by 75 bolt in through the top with a flat washer. And then I'm just gonna flip this upside down, make it a little bit easier. Get another flat washer for each of those bolts. And then a lock nut. Now you can take a 13mm socket and wrench to tighten this down. We have a 13mm wrench included in the kit that I'm using. Next, we're gonna connect our one end to our center bar. So we have these brackets that we're gonna be using. The first 4 holes here are gonna line up with the 4 holes in our end piece. And then on the other side, we have 3 holes that'll line up with these 3 holes. We're not doing anything with the first 2 holes, but we're gonna be putting a bolt with these nylon washers in there. In the 3rd hole, that's gonna be our pivot hole. So I'm taking the bolts with the 4 flat washers and the lock nut. I'm gonna have a bolt with a flat washer. That's gonna go through my bracket. I'm gonna put another flat washer there. Slide that through. Another flat washer. Slide the other side on. Flat washer. And nut. I'm just gonna put that a couple threads on so I have room to put my washers in on the rest of them. Next, I'm going to take the bolt that comes with the 2 flat washers and the lock nut. I'm going to leave one of the flat washers on. And then I'm going to slide our center bar in. Now I'm putting that bolt through the outside, and then I'm getting a nylon spacer. Putting that on. Sliding it through the hole. I'll get another nylon spacer. Put that there. And then I can raise up my other side bracket. Connect everything together. And now I can get my flat washers on the other side of those bolts. And then I'll raise up our second plate. Get all my bolts pushed through to the other side. And then on these, I'm going to put my flat washer and my nut. And same thing for the last one. And now we can take a 13mm socket and wrench and tighten all of these down. So now with everything bolted up, if we were to turn this, this would pivot. So we're going to be putting our 2 locking pins into these 2 holes. Slide it through the other side and then wrap this around there. And now we can hop over to the other side and get that mounted up. So now on the other side, we've just got to line up these two holes with these two holes and put our bolts through. These are going to be the same bolts as over there, but they're going to be the ones that come with 2 flat washers and a lock nut on them. So get this lined up. And then take your flat washer and lock nut on the other side, thread those on. And then take your 13mm socket and wrench, tighten those down. Next, we're going to mount our upright. We've got these 3 holes over here. So I'm going to lift this up and line up my 3 holes. I'm going to take my M10 bolt with a flat washer, put that down through the top. I'm going to get my other bolts put through now as well. Now on the bottom, we're going to have this support plate. So it's going to go right underneath, and we're going to put our bolts through the holes. And then you're going to take a flat washer and a lock nut and thread those onto the bolts at the bottom. And then you're going to grab a 16mm socket for the bolt side and a 17mm wrench for the nut side to tighten this down. Next, we're going to install our slanted bar. So we're going to grab the side with the 4 holes here. That's going to line up with these 4 holes. Slide that into place, and then we're going to take our M8x75 bolts. Slide those through. Make sure you have a flat washer on there. And then on the other side, we're going to put a flat washer and a lock nut on all of those bolts. Now you can grab a 13mm socket and 13mm wrench and tighten all of these down. Now we have this on sideways, so I'm just going to pull this up off of that bar and just rotate it 90 degrees so it's going in towards the frame. And then with that in place, I'm going to take another one of our pins and put it right through this hole. Close it up, and this is just going to prevent this from wobbling too much. It's going to lock that in place. Next, we're going to install our hand crank up top. So we need to put in this extension piece. It's got a hole that's going to line up with this hole in our bar. So slide that in. And then we're going to get our hand crank. We've got these 2 slots that our bolt's going to go through. So I'm going to put this through there, drop that into place, and then I'm going to grab a flat washer and a lock nut. Thread that on, and then we're going to do the same thing for the bottom hole. Now this one's gonna be pretty tight down here, so I'm gonna slide this up and get my flat washer on there. And then I'm just gonna hold my nut on the end of the bolt, and I'm gonna use the bolt side to thread into the nut. And then we can sit that back down and take a 13mm wrench to hold that nut and a 13mm socket for the bolt side. Tighten both of your bolts down. Now we're gonna come up to our crank. I'm gonna remove the nut on the end of the stud. And then we're gonna slide on our handle. We want that to be captured inside this bracket. So slide that on, make sure it's in there. And then reinstall that nut. And I'm just gonna hold this handle and take a 19mm socket to tighten down the nut. Next we can install the cover for our crank. We've got these 2 threaded holes that are lining up with these slots. And then we're threading in an M8 by 20 bolt with a flat washer. And then while we're here, I'm gonna put the bolt through our extension piece. I have a flat washer on there as well. And then on the other side, I've got a flat washer and a lock nut. And now grab a 13mm socket and wrench for the bolt. And then your 13mm socket for the top piece. Next, we're gonna attach our strap from the crank to this piece down here. Now we've got this bracket that's gonna slide through our strap, and then that's gonna line up with these 2 holes here. We're gonna put our M8 by 20 bolts in there with flat washers and lock nuts. So I'm just gonna turn this a little bit, get a little bit extra slack. Slide that in. Take my bolt with flat washer through the top, and I'll get my flat washer and lock nut on the bottom. Now, also important to note, this notch is facing this pole. And then take your 13mm socket and wrench and tighten that down. Next, we're going to slide in our handlebar through the large hole here, and then we have an M8 by 20 bolt with a flat washer we're putting through that hole to tighten it down against it. Now in the center, we have these 2 small holes. You can use that to get it perfectly centered. When that's in, you'll see both holes sticking out from either side, and you know your alignment's good. So see the hole there, see the hole there. So I'll thread in my bolt with the flat washer. And I'll take my 13mm socket to just tighten this up against it. And now it's nice and tight and perfectly centered. Next, I need to mount our top piece. So I'm gonna have to remove this bolt that was pre-installed there. We've got nylon washers and metal washers. So we're gonna get this tab lined up here. I'm gonna take my bolt with the flat washer and put it through, and then get a nylon washer. Put that through the hole. And then I want to get my other nylon washer, slide it in between and get it lined up. push my bolt through, and then my metal flat washer and lock nut will be on the other side. And I'm gonna leave this loose for now. So now I'm gonna swing this up so that we can install our support bracket. So the solid side is gonna go into this mount here. And the swinging part, you're gonna take an M8 by 20 bolt with a flat washer, and it's gonna be going into that threaded hole. And then you can take a 13mm socket and tighten down your 2 bolts. And then now we can come back to that bolt that we just installed for this piece and take a 13mm wrench and socket and tighten it down. Now come back to the other bracket, and we're going to take the shorter of our 4 pins, stick that through the hole. Make sure it's going through the hole in this. You don't want it going underneath on the notch. You want this to be locked into place just like that. Next we can install our supports. So for this one we want the strap at the top. We're going to slide it in and then push in on the pins. Slide that back and lock it into place. And then we're just going to be doing pretty much the exact same thing on our rear one. Now the very last thing you need to do is install these rubber stoppers. You don't have to thread these in all the way. You can adjust these to level the hardtop while you're taking it out. And it'll also just help protect the surface. So just thread all 4 of those in and we'll be good to go. So now we're going to get our top all ready to be pulled off. First thing we got to do is remove our freedom panels. So I'm just going to fold down the sun visor, pull down on that latch, and then we're just going to twist the other 3 to unlock them. And then with those popped out, we can lift and remove our panel. And then you can do the same thing for the other one. Now right underneath of our freedom panel, we have a bolt here. So take a T50 torque socket and remove that, as well as the one on the other side. Now in the back of the Jeep, we're going to be disconnecting our connector and our washer line, and then we have these 3 Torx bolts on each side. So for the connector, pull back on the red locking tab and then push it in, and you can plug it in over here to keep it out of the way. The washer line we're pushing in on that silver tab to remove it, and you can hook that in there as well. Then grab your T50 torque socket and remove your 3 bolts and do the same on the other side. So now we're ready to lift off our top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the front and I'm going to pull it in, and I'm going to slide this in. We're going to raise it up. We want this front part to clear the roll bar and be on the bottom of the hardtop. So I'm going to slide this in, and then I can start cranking on my handle to raise it up. And once it's high enough to clear the roll bar, I'm going to push it back out so that it's as far away from our back bar as possible. And now I'm just going to keep cranking just until this is resting on the hardtop, and then we have our straps that we're going to have to buckle. So now on the front, those stoppers are up against the hardtop. On the back, they're not. So I'm going to twist those out to where those are sitting on the hardtop so we keep this nice and level. So now I'm just gonna unscrew this rubber until it's up against our hardtop. Right there should be good. We're gonna do that on the other side, and then we can install our hooks. Next, we're gonna take our hooks. We've got one of these on each side of our angled bar, and we're just gonna come up to our hood, our glass hinge, and wrap that around. And then you can come to the buckle. We're gonna press in on that, and then just pull it nice and tight, and then do that same thing on the other side. Now, once these straps are nice and tight, tighten them up a little bit more if you need to. Then we can start cranking and lift our hardtop up off our Jeep. And I'm just gonna use a hand to support the hardtop while I pull this back off the Jeep. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the EZ 4x4 EZ-LIFTOP folding hardtop remover. Thank you for watching, and for all things Wrangler, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.